Another important factor is latencies. Yeah, we want to keep latencies very short. And now, as we understand, we have a common time base in the network. We can also think a bit about what does it take to get audio samples from one end of a network to the other end. And the basic principle is we sample audio here, we have our AD conversion, we sample audio here, we take a timestamp that references to our common PTP time. These audio samples and the timestamp travel along on the network, and then we have received that in the loudspeaker in this example, and the loudspeaker has to wait until the so-called presentation time is reached. And that allows that if there is multiple loudspeakers, all loudspeakers can play out audio at exactly the same time. So we're really talking microsecond precision here, so really with subsample accuracy. And yeah, this is the basic concept how the timestamping is done. Now, what we want to guarantee is that no matter what load we have on the network, our packets do not get delayed. So we want to guarantee that these packets arrive in time. We cannot afford to lose any single frame. So giving here an example of loading the network with 360 channels, pushing that through 2 switches here. So that would equal to having 35% of the bandwidth reserved. Would still allow us to keep the latency as low as 0.4 milliseconds. With a fully loaded network with 360 channels, 2 switches in between, 0.4 milliseconds. Let's go a bit bigger. I would say this is already a very large network in a large installation. On a regular festival scenario, you will probably not find that many switches between your endpoints. But even if we have 9 hops, we can still achieve 1.2 milliseconds latency. So that's really impressive, and that's something that is not possible if you do not have means to really reserve this bandwidth and guarantee that we have this maximum of 137 microseconds as a rule of thumb. That's what you can use to calculate if you know how many switches you have. For each connection, for each hop, you add up this latency. That's what you have guaranteed in a Milan network. This is also summarized in this table. I'm happy to share the presentation with you just to have a couple of benchmarks. Also important to note here is there's often that rumor about AVB reserves this 75% and steals that away from other applications on the network. We will come back to that. But also the given latency figures, often this 2 milliseconds is a known number, but that applies only for the scenario with 7 hops, 100 Mbit link speed on all hops, then you can still achieve these 2 milliseconds. If we go up to gigabit or even further, we can do the same amount of hops with lower latency, or even on a 100 Mbit link, if we have less hops, we can reduce the latency. So this 2 millisecond thing is not a fixed thing. That's an old misperception of legacy AVB standards, basically. This is fixed for Milan.